The conclusion is the very last part of your thesis or dissertation. It should be engaging and concise. Want to know how to write a good one? Then keep watching. Hi, I'm Jessica from Scribbr, here to help you achieve your academic goals. The line between discussion and conclusion is sometimes quite blurry. To clear things up, conclusion is shorter and more general. You don't discuss specific results, but make broad statements that sum up the most important insights of the research. That being said, you should not introduce new data or interpretations in the conclusion. So, how long should your conclusion be? Depending on the type of thesis, the conclusion should typically be around 5 to 7% of the overall word count. An empirical research will often have a short conclusion that concisely states the main findings and recommendations, while a humanity thesis might require more space to conclude its analysis and tie all the chapters together in an overall argument. Now let's take a look at the 4 elements that make a good conclusion. First, answer the research question. Begin with the main question that your thesis aims to address. Let's take a look at the example here. Since the conclusion is your final chance to show that you've done what you set out to do, make sure to formulate a clear, concise answer, like the example does in the next sentence. The results are synthesized into one final takeaway. Second, summarize and reflect on the research. The conclusion is an opportunity to remind the reader why you took the approach you did, what you expected to find, and how well the results match your expectations. You should write more reflectively here. For example, consider how effective your methodology was in answering your research questions, and whether any new questions or unexpected insights arose in the process. You can write something like this. This research clearly illustrates X, but it also raises the question of why. Third, make recommendations. The conclusion is a good place to elaborate and look ahead. If you're making recommendations for policy, business, or other practical implementation, it's best to frame them as suggestions rather than imperatives. So something like, based on these conclusions, practitioners should consider. If you're making recommendations for future research, be sure not to undermine your own work. Future studies might confirm, build on, or enrich your conclusions, but they shouldn't be required to complete them. For example, to better understand the implications of these results, future studies could address. Fourth, emphasize your contributions. Make sure your reader is left with a strong impression of what your research has contributed to knowledge in your field. Some strategies to achieve this include: return to your problem statement to explain how your research helped solve the problem, referring back to the literature review and showing how you have addressed a gap in knowledge, discussing how your findings confirm or challenge an existing theory or assumption. Pick out the most important points and sum them up into an overview that puts your findings in context. Finally, finish your thesis. Once you've finished writing your conclusion, it's time to wrap up your thesis. It's a good idea to write the abstract next, while the research is still fresh in your mind. If you're not sure where to begin, check out this video on how to write an abstract. Then you need to make sure your reference list is complete and correctly formatted. To speed up the process, you can use Scribbr's free citation generators. Lastly, read through the whole document again to make sure your thesis is clearly written and free from language errors. You can proofread it yourself, ask a friend of yours, or take a look at Scribbr's proofreading and editing service. The finish line is in sight. You can do it. Make sure to drop a like and let us know in the comment below if you find this video helpful. I'll see you in the next one.